All right, got the fat cat, got the little dog, fat cat and little dog. You got your avocado over there. Fantastic. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's a Thursday show. I didn't do one yesterday because my family wanted to hang out, so we're hanging out. I got some awesome care packages from Michael Mystery and from Avocados. Wearing an avocado shirt right now. It's very lovely. Monkey butt, love the smell on it, but haven't washed it yet. Also says treats for Monkey, puzzles galore so that my mom can enjoy. So fantastic. Thank you, everybody. So yeah, everyone's having a good time over here, except Monkey Butt got kicked off the bed and the cat is very proud of himself. Well, we're still in speculation station. We're waiting for documents to drop with the SEC still regarding Bed Bath & Beyond. Now, according to the New York Department of State, is that who does it? Yeah, whatever. The registration for Butterfly has to announce their CEO by October 31st. So people are like, things must get dropped before then. But they did re-register in Delaware. So I don't know if that stuff will still apply. At the same time, according to people who have called Computershare will only be the transfer agent until Monday. So what happens after that? Where's everything go? Like, should we expect a filing after close on Friday? Or should we expect a filing before open on Monday? Or, because they're in this blackout period that can last 2 months, will we not get any filings until... I honestly don't know. So, with regards to Butterfly, Bed Bath & Beyond, all that stuff, we're still speculating. And our speculations are proving wrong again and again and again. So, it's on its own timeline. We are not privy to it at all. In other news, Aron it was revealed he was blackmailed. He received some lewd text messages from what he thought was a young woman. The person who sent the text messages sent naked photos claiming that she was 17 years old, and Aron was like, I remember you. We had sex before. And proceeded to send nasty things back and forth with this person. This person was not, in fact, a 17-year-old Russian ballerina, but was, in fact, a woman in her 30s in, I think, New Jersey, who was blackmailing Aron. She was like, hey, I got some dirt on you. You're going to give me several $100,000, or else I'm going to send it to Vanity Fair and whatnot. And Aron went to the FBI, as one should, and the FBI arrested the blackmailer. It's very weird. I went to the AMC boards, and people were like, way to go, Aron. Completely ignoring the fact that Aron was under the impression he was sexting not only a 17-year-old girl, but a 17-year-old girl he thought he had had sexual relationships with before. So, yeah. Be stronger than your lizard brain. And there's dudes on there like, well, a 17-year-old can look like they're 25. But I teach community college. I have 16 and 17-year-old running start students in my classes. They look nothing like the 25-year-old students in my classes. Nothing. That's the type of excuse you give when you want to have sex with 16 and 17-year-olds. It's gross. Like, A, he should never put himself in that position in the first place. B, it's a kid. You think you're having sexting with a kid. Don't do that crap. It's just, oh my God. Just, like, it wasn't bad enough that Aron enriched himself well over $100 million while AMC was having the worst years of its entire life. That every time they diluted shares, it was not at a price point that could take care of any of their debt meaningfully. And he would dilute to short hedge funds constantly. That he fudged up his own pounce by selling to a hedge fund before T plus 90 could take effect. That his reverse split resulted in massive hammering of the price. So it's down 94+% since its highs. And now we got this dude, making really wise decisions, sexting with children. So I don't know what it takes for the board to be like, you know what, maybe he's not the best for this company. Unless everyone on the board is just as terrible and working for the hedge funds. My gosh, man. It's gross. It's gross. I don't get it.
Houston, we have a problem.
All right, turn that off. Dog's going to town on a bone. Oh, she just totally finally annihilated the avocado's avocado. It's done. Okay. Couple super chats came in here before I started. Don Caesar Shadem, you've been on Wall Street Bets lately. I swear the new mods are pampered frat boys with a collective IQ of a mosquito. They're just grumpy snobs. Yeah, and the head of Wall Street Bets is currently a Citadel employee. So, yeah, you're not allowed to talk about penny stocks anymore on there, which was a large part of the plays that were made. If you mention a penny stock, they remove your account and you're banned from there forever. Yeah, it's completely compromised. They're done. They're compromised. Although on the other side, the RBBBY subreddit has been doing a great job this week, just annihilating shills. So as long as you copy the link to the comment and send it to them in mod mail, they look at it and they go, yep, delete, and they remove them. So they've been wiping out the shills on there quite a bit. So that's an improvement. Ludicrous speed, butterfly. Indeed. So, yeah. Do I have anything else? Any other news I want to put in there? Sears Canada's doing weird things. It's up like 63,000% or something. Volume is insane. What's going on with Sears Canada? It's in the dollars. Yeah. No chart available all of a sudden. Back down to 0. What's going on? The volume was a lot. Weird. But anyway, Sears Canada's doing weird stuff. Blockbuster's doing weird stuff. Toys R Us is doing weird stuff. The zombie stocks are all doing all sorts of things. There's a document filed in the Sears bankruptcy asking for like 1 more year. The thought is they still have real estate they have to sell, and it hasn't sold yet, so they're asking for another year to complete the sales. So we can't do anything with our Sears shares. They're just going to sit there until they're finally done with the stuff. It's amazing. So Sears entered Chapter 11 in 2018, right? Almost 6 years ago. BBBY entered Chapter 11 6 months ago, and they're leaving Chapter 11 now. Huge difference in how those two things went. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. Like, one's 5 to 6 years, and the other 6 months. Okay. First one, no name. First again. That is. And then Andrew Stewart thought he was, but nope. Scott Pollen still beeping up the truck, backing up the truck to get some more GameStop at bargain prices. There's a lot of bargains seem to be happening right now. Joseph Lee, when do you think they will cut off the money faucet? Which money faucet? Bank available credit to banks is collapsing hard. Julio sent me something pretty good with that. See if I gotta go find it. Then notifications. Julio. Not that one. Keep scrolling. Here we go. Come on. Here we go. All right. Bam. Chrome. All right. Bank credit has now entered contraction territory after witnessing one of the sharpest declines on record since 1974. This only happened once, the financial crisis. Back then, this metric reached levels as low as -5%. The current rate, a credit event, is nearing quickly. So you can see here that this is where credit contraction from banks just bottomed out in 2010 and started, started collapsing in 2007, but bottomed out 2010, 2011 before bouncing back. And now we are crossing that line. The contraction is happening very quickly. Banks don't have money. I mean, every day you read the news about weird accounts being shut down, people not having access to their money, ATMs not working, banks closing branches all over the place, especially the big three, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and Citi. All those guys they're hemorrhaging. And you'll read reports like, deposits are way down. Well, it's probably not that deposits are way down. It might just be people don't have money. Right? We've been dealing with runaway inflation for 2 years now. And people are spending their savings because prices are expensive. Homes are expensive. Rent's expensive. Cars are expensive. Gas is expensive. Food's expensive. School's expensive. Like you're not finding discounts right now, and wages are not increasing at the same rate as inflation. So people are getting squeezed. So are deposits down, or are people just running out of money? I don't think that they're like taking money out necessarily. Like, oh, I'm gonna put this elsewhere. Oh. No, I just think they just don't have the money, and the Fed isn't printing. So, we're getting a crunch. Yeah, that's where we're headed there. So the money faucet won't get turned on full blast until we have recognition that everything has collapsed. So that's where we are. Oh, I forgot to mention we have our sponsor. And now I don't know if I'm going to butcher it or not there, Erica. But Dietas Destinations, travel agency owned by one of our viewers. And if you want to have deals and travel and see the world, I put the link in the description. You can also zoom in and email her here or visit their website and see the world, travel. Support your fellow viewers in their endeavors. Okay. Mr. Lasuna, who do I need to annoy for a blue sky code? Scripts always use a pencil shoved through a sheet of paper to illustrate wormhole travel. What novel way would you use? And that's the way I've always seen it. Like you take, and then you jab pencil through there, and that's how you get to the other side of the planet. I always thought of it as like you have an ant on one side, and you fold the paper, and then the ant can go to the other side, and all of a sudden, that's how you fold space and get from one spot to another. But I don't know if there's a novel way to sort of approach that. I mean, it depends on what the shape of space is, and if you like dive into cosmology, you get your regular Cartesian coordinate system, X and Y and Z, right? And everything's in this 3D grid. Well, you can get into non-Euclidean geometry, and you might have saddle shapes or toroids or spheres, and other things that don't necessarily make sense to our grid-like structure, how we understand things. Like it might not be grids like my shirt. It might be a weird saddle shape, and so a straight line, two straight lines might necessarily be parallel. They might diverge in this case. You draw a triangle on a sphere, and it no longer adds up to 180 degrees. So if we have a non-Euclidean shape to our universe, there might be shortcuts using Euclidean geometry to use. But, yeah. Who do I need to annoy for Blue Sky Code? We'll have a whole bunch more, hopefully, for a Halloween show. Oh, sorry. Someone's making a shake in the kitchen downstairs. And yeah, so Halloween, we should have a whole bunch more Blue Sky Codes. And if you've got Blue Sky Codes this month, please, by all means, save them up and we will raffle them off. we may have enough to like give everybody in the chat one, or everyone who donates one at this point. So, yeah. So, kick butt. First name, last name, Houston. How much does wrist action increase baseball's velocity? What would a straight wrist pitch versus a pitch with wrist action differ? Just curious about the mechanics. A lot. So, to throw a traditional knuckleball, fingers down on the ball, stiff wrist, and you throw it and you let go without moving your wrist. And the ball doesn't have any spin on it. A fastball pitcher who can throw like 94 will have a 65 to 70 mile an hour knuckleball. Maybe some can throw it in like 72, 73, which is really pushing it. I was able to add more velocity to my knuckleball because I invented a different way of throwing it, where I had my knuckle down and I'd snap my wrist like I was doing a fastball and then flick my finger. So snapping your wrist causes a backspin and flicking my finger caused a front spin. So I basically cancel each other out by doing that. And I was able to hit 78 miles an hour with my knuckleball by doing that, which was freakish. People were like, what the hell? So it makes a big difference. Snapping your wrist also puts a whole bunch of backspin on the ball. And when you put backspin on the ball, it's able to chew through the air more easily, overcoming air resistance. It channels the air around it and it will slow down. It will decelerate at a slower rate than a ball that has less spin. Who's that dude? The one that got accused of sexual assault with the Dodgers. He's kind of an incel weirdo. Ended up playing Japan. Byron, that was his name. He is always suspected of cheating because they can measure the spin on the ball. Like, oh, that ball had 3,000 rotations a minute or whatever. And when he was, before he got to the Dodgers, when he won a Cy Young, the spin on his ball was like 40% greater than other pitchers. Like insane spin rates on his baseball. And so it was thought he was using really sticky substance on his fingertips. So when he snapped his wrist, it really pulled back on the ball and just caused it to do a lot more spinning. So that's, yeah, having good wrist action can make a huge difference on velocity, especially velocity by the time it's crossing the plate. It'll leave the arm faster because it's more like whip action, whoop-cha! And then the incredible rate of backspin on the ball will keep the ball aloft a little higher and will keep it going faster as it crosses the plate. The purpose of a four-seam fastball is it's meant to mess with your eyes. Your brain automatically interprets gravity and the rate of fall something should have. So you see the parabola of a baseball coming and you expect it to like come and drop. But with the backspin, it drops at a slower rate because the stitching on the ball creates ever so slight amount of lift and resists that fall of gravity. So as the ball comes, you're expecting it to drop, and what happens is it stays high a little bit more than you expected, and you swing under it. So yeah, but it makes a big difference having spin on the ball. Thomas Norman, DKK. Where's DKK? That Danish kroners? Thank you for the one in a balloon. Thomas Norman, DKK. DKK, is that Denmark? Oops. Come on, stupid. There we go. DKK. Yeah, Danish kroner. There we go. Okay, I was right. Another one. Ooh, got 69 in that one. Thank you. I've not yet been to Denmark. I have several times playing GeoGuessr, but not in reality. Thank you. No number one on that one, but we'll take it anyway. Thank you, bud. Okay. Leo B. Houston, when market crash 23 or 24? I mean, it seems like everyone's preparing for this fall. So we're in this fall. I don't know if they'll be able to keep that stuff at bay. I mean, we saw articles come out yesterday and today talking about how banks are doing huge write-downs. Like a lot of their bonds are worthless. This is the worst bond market in history. There's never been a worse bond market than we have right now. And all of your deposits are in bonds. So, banks are going belly up. More of them are in more trouble than people realize. And it just depends upon when they're going to admit it to themselves. I'm sure there's all sorts of fancy fraudulent accounting going on trying to keep these things afloat, but it can only last for so long. I'm surprised it's lasted until now. Let me put it that way. That every day we don't see like the bottom fall out of the market. I'm like, that's weird, because there's no good news. Except people keep getting hired for jobs. I guess that's good news, is that jobs keep coming for some reason. But yeah, and that seems like the Fed's like, why are people keep getting hired? This happens sooner or later. First name, last name. Also, Aron can go fuck himself. Just another slimy shitbag in the world who does nothing to help those lesser than him. I mean, on one side you have CEOs who are like, I don't take pay. I invested in your company and I will get paid by having my stock pay off. On the other side, you got guys where my company's losing $4 billion a year, but I want to make sure I get my $20 million bonus and $40 million of stock options. And then I'm going to sell everything because I have to diversify. Yeah, it's just two very different sides of the spectrum there. Andrew Stewart, Houston. What happens if Trump gets convicted and gets a jail sentence? Will people lose their shit and riot in the streets? I think some of them will. But I think largely what's going to happen is if Trump gets convicted and sentenced, you have some people like, oh, rise up, and then they just get their asses kicked. But then 10 years from now, you'll have people that just won't admit that they were Trumpers. They'll be like, no, I never voted for the guy. Just like how you can't find anyone who voted for Nixon. So apparently the NDAs that were signed by Trump campaign staff are now null and void. And so anyone who worked for Trump campaign can now yickety yak about all the dirt and details. So expect some books and papers and articles to be published about that. That's coming. Should be interesting. First name, last name, Houston. What's going on with Sears? My shares are gone out of computer share, and they've been reading that they might still be there, but I have to call something sweeping under the rug again. Sigh. Apparently they're with M3. That's the new transfer agent for Sears. Why they're switching transfer agents when this company's been in bankruptcy for 5.5 years? But they're with M3 now and no longer computer share. So that's weird enough. Phil Clayton, hey Houston, any thoughts on what they could push GME down to? Really wish I could load up like DFV. Any update on BBYQ? My shares are canceled in UK. Is this all part of the plan? I don't think the deletion that's been happening in the UK is part of the plan. I've had some people from the UK write me and like, hey, what's Lansdowne, Hargroves and Lansdowne just removed all my shares and they're gone. They're like, well, they're gone. And I told them to write, not just only write the brokerage, but write the regulators in the UK and say, hey, this is not supposed to be removed from my account. And you guys need to give me my shares back. And one of them got a response, was like, well, if the shares do come back, we'll credit your account or give you a cash payout. And he's like, give me my shares. Because you might give me a cash payout at 7 cents when the stock's flying to $1 gajillion. I want my shares. There's no reason to delete these shares. And so at least he's got that on record. He's got how many shares you should have. He's got this context from the brokerage. So if shit does hit the fan, maybe you guys can class action or something. Can you class action in the UK? I have no idea how your common law system works over there versus ours. But yeah, I would be having a hissy fit. Just have a hissy fit with your broker until they give you your shares back. Because no skin off their back. If fuckery's not going on, they should have no problem with being like, oh, okay, we'll put your shares back in your account, loser who has nothing. But if they've got to go out and find you your shares again, there could be issues for them. Thomas Norman. So that's how I add text. What do you think will happen with BBYQ at this point? There you go. Got some text in there. I do think that the timeline, something has to happen because computer share / Melon investor services says that they will no longer be the transfer agent as of Monday, but they won't say where it's going. AST is no longer transfer agent. It became Melon / computer share. Melon / computer share is like, well, yeah, we're their transfer agent, but only until Monday. That's a weird thing to say. A very weird thing to say. Like, what happens Monday? Where does it go? Is it going to blockchain? Is it going to another transfer agent? Is Teddy, since Teddy's registered as a bank, are they becoming the transfer agent? Like, what is going on? So I'm hoping, I want documents now because I'm impatient, but I'm hoping, Friday after close or Monday before open, we get some explanation and we know what's going on. But until then, I don't know, man. All I can do is speculate. And hi, monkey. And hope for the best. Can we please get this done before Halloween? That would be awesome. Get this done before Halloween. Make the greatest charity Tuesday of all time. And then, I don't know, I can go turn my brain off for a month on a beach in Hawaii or something. That's like a plan, monkey. You can go hang out with Shawnee and her dog, and I'll go sit on the beach. That sound cool? And then we'll wait for a 4-wheel drive RV to be built, and I'll come back and we'll rock and roll. But twiddle them thumbs, pat the dog's head, right? Kill some time, scratch a cat butt while you're at it. Just do a 500-piece puzzle. Here we are, hanging out, wondering what the hell's going on because we don't know. We are in the dark. We have lots of breadcrumbs. There are so many breadcrumbs, so many from elusive code speak by the powers that are involved in this, to who the proxies and debt financiers are, to who the creditors are, to the renaming of the company, the payment, the fee schedule for the lawyers working on this. They spent thousands and thousands and thousands of hours on merger acquisitions, name changes, ticker changes, redistributions. Like, there's a whole bunch of work going on that's resulting in like hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in fees. And we know something's up. Exactly what it is, not a clue. It could be, Teddy's like, we now have stock, and Knowles, and we could become a company. It could be they take those 38 subsidiaries and they spin off 38 different companies. Anyone who wants a piece of those Knowles can come in here. You want it to be like Lego and, I don't know, Blockbuster or whatever. Like, numerous companies can take part in this. And to make it even more delicious, you would give existing shareholders 1 share each in any company they spin off, right? So all of a sudden that 1 share that's at 7 cents is now several dollars in multiple companies that now the shorts must close positions on. They can't cover, they're gonna have to close on those suckers. So that distribution can happen. In the distribution wording, when they file an S1, they could say, hey, we're moving this thing to blockchain. We're going to distribute blockchain shares on this date. You've got 5 days to close all positions, brokers, or else you can't get your distribution for your shareholders. And that's going to be position close only. That's going to be the brokers are going to be liquidating short positions to close this stuff. And you don't have to close. You can be like, no, I'll take my blockchain and just refuse to sell. So if we have some sort of like, it's 5 days to close all this, you don't have to sell. You can be like, yeah, but I'll just take my blockchain. So I don't need to close my position. And the broker's like, oh my God, just close your positions. Just shut everything out. And so, you know, you don't have to sell it $25. You don't have to sell $100. You don't have to sell $1,000. You don't have to sell it $100,000. You can just wait and be like, it's Friday afternoon. Like the market's gonna close in like an hour. You know what? Yeah, I'll take $1 million a share. Fine, that's enough. So it could be something super diabolical like that. We don't know. Speculation. That's all we have. We just sit here and can think of the most lewd and awful ways to murder all the hedge funds. And I'm sure that they sat around smoking cigars, drinking whiskey, and doing exactly the same thing, and then put that on paper. And it's all in that redacted documents that we can't see, the bankruptcy court. And I hope the bankruptcy judge is like, I hope he's like, oh, this is fucking diabolical. So, you know, a good judge can be really go, oh, I never thought of that. That's amazing. Because, you know, they were bankruptcy lawyers before they were a bankruptcy judge. And they're just like, this is fucking cool. I hope that's what the judge is doing right now. But here we sit, pondering, stroking our beards, you know, twiddling our thumbs, eating gummy bears, petting dogs, right? Don't give me that look, you little dog on the floor. You just upset the cat has your bed again. Phil Clayton, Houston. Any thoughts on what they could push Jimmy down to? Oh, wait, we just did that one. Duh. First name, last name. Really hope Matt gets their shit together. I don't want another clove bag of feces to hold. I've got too many meme bags already. Can't talk about it? But I know what you mean. Daphne, what is SHLDQ? Sears Holding Company. So that's the bankrupt Sears. Ludicrous Speed. Hey, Houston. What's your prediction for Japanese banks after they froze every account a couple of days ago? The excuse the Japanese were saying was that there was like a glitch in their transfer computers that froze everything. This is a system that's existed for, was it 43 years? So I don't think glitches like that happen too often. Looks like my video feed is slowing down. So time to mention to the earnest that I'm doing a live show. FYI, I'm doing a live show. Blink. There we go. Okay. Hopefully we'll get some pixels back for all of you. Yeah, it's very weird that like shortly after a whole bunch of Japanese banks announced like, hey, we're in trouble. Our bonds are worthless. They also have a freezing of accounts across the entire country, across numerous banks. It could be some sort of glitch to their system that somehow happened after 43 years of existing. That's weird, right? Okay. Okay. Daphne, there's tons of tinfoil around the rise of zombie stocks. I hope it's just true, actually. Oh, I mean, there were folks on Twitter today bragging about the millions they made off of shorting Bed Bath & Beyond. Right? These are short hedge fund guys, and they're short traders, and they're like, but I made millions off my Bed Bath & Beyond. Then you find out that they started shorting when the stock price was 30 cents. So, calculator game time. Chrome, turn off. Calculator, come here. Okay. To make $1 million, make $1 million off of a stock that is 30 cents, you must sell 3.3 million of them, right? To make millions of dollars, you have to at least sell 6.67 million of them, right? So these guys on Twitter, they're like, haha, losers, I've made millions off this stock by shorting it. Nah. Okay, so if they're saying millions and they started shorting at 30 cents. And they probably shorted below that, 10 cents, at 15 cents or whatever. So let's put their short position at 10 million shares, somewhere around there, right? So at 10 million shares, because the math gets easy at that point. All right. The stock price goes to $25. Cool. So $25. This is the rumor mill that Schwab had that there's going to be a buyout, $25. The stock price immediately goes to $25 when it comes back. Oops. So, come on. Multiply. There we go. So now these short sellers are underwater $250 million on something they maybe made $2-3 million on. So they're underwater by $247 million. So let's divide that sucker by, say they made 3 million. So they're now underwater 83 times their position. Their margin's 30 times. So that's a margin call and probably a liquidation, right? If they got greedy and they shorted tens of millions of shares, 40, 50, 60 million shares while it was at 30 cents and below, they could be facing billions. Let's say they did 50 million shares, right? At $25 a share, as a base price, they're now underwater $1.25 billion. Let's say that base price of $25, and there's some sort of time frame for closing out positions. They got 4 or 5 days to do it, and we're a bunch of jerks and we aren't selling right now. That $25 price is nothing. I want more. It goes to 100, goes to 200, goes to 300, goes to 400, goes to 500, goes to 600, and so on and so on and so on. It goes to thousands, right? If you short sold 50 million shares and the price is in the thousands, let's say it's, $3,000, which in a short squeeze like this could probably be pretty logical. I'm not saying the $300,000, $1 million a share, that they're stuck closing on average of $3,000 a share. They're now responsible for $150 billion. There is not a bank that exists today that has that kind of liquidity at the moment, let alone a hedge fund. So they're blinking out of existence. Those prime brokers are begging the government to bail them out just on one hedge fund or family fund short position on the stock. Awesome. Freaking awesome. And now you're looking at all these family funds and hedge funds and little dweeb short seller day trader dudes. And collectively, they could have upwards of billions of shares that they owe. Right? So now we're looking at trillions upon trillions upon trillions of liability across, 500 hedge funds and family funds, maybe more. I mean, both JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs have about 4,000 hedge funds each that trade under them, that they're the prime broker for, right? And we know from our experience that these hedge funds, well, they're just the same dude cloned over and over and over again. They all get into the same plays. They all have dinner at the same place and clink the same whiskey glasses. And they all talk about shorting the same stupid stocks because when you look at their portfolios, they're all doing exactly the same thing. They've got the same bonds and the same stocks as their assets, and they all short the exact same companies as each other, which is why you got this huge basket of shorted stocks. And they're doing these swaps with each other to delay having to pay out on their liabilities of this stuff. And they're bouncing these swaps around like a hot potato. Well, the music's going to stop and someone's going to be left holding that hot potato and it's going to burn the shit out of them. And when they get burned, they're going to flail their arms and smack some other guy in the head. And it's just going to be a cataclysm of chain reaction from after that. So it's going to be awesome if Bed Bath & Beyond / Butterfly is what we think it's going to do. So, twiddle your thumbs and dream of better days. The best thing you can do. That's the only thing you can do because we don't have the power to file documents or we can speculate all day long. I bet a lot of speculation we've done because we know Ryan Cohen reads all this stuff. We know he watches the videos. We know that he's on Twitter and he's in Reddit and he reads these things, and he's probably like, oh, that's probably a good idea. With several of the things that we've come up with over the years. Like, yeah, you know what? Cancel a ticker, name change, merger acquisition, force the shorts to close. That's probably pretty brilliant. Yeah, I think we're going to do that. So he's totally on board with all this stuff. And I finally watched that Restless Billionaire documentary on HBO about Carl Icahn. You know, it's kind of short. I wish they went in a little depth with more of his plays. But this is the stuff that he's been doing. I mean, Icahn was part of the Hertz restructuring, squeeze. He was part of the MGM casino thing, squeeze, right? So if Icahn and Brett are part of this thing, they know exactly what's going on. And now they have an army of morons behind them who are just like, yes, sir. I'll do whatever you say, sir. So I think it's going to be beautiful. Personally. Just speculating, but I think it's going to be a beautiful view from here. I'll name whatever vast compound I purchase. Will be called like Butterfly Ranch or something. And I'll plant milkweed everywhere for those little monarchs. And I can sit out there in a chair with monkey butt. We can just watch them flutter by. Those butterflies flutter by. Oh, and there's a reset of the chat. Sorry, one sec. I scroll all the way back up again. Okay, that's... All right, go past that one. Go past that. Go past that. Japanese banks question. More thumb twiddling. Kirk Wilson, in your opinion, who was the worst human in history, such as Kahn, Leopold, Hitler? Who made the biggest contribution impact for humanity, such as Fleming? Ooh. I mean, there's a lot of worse people. People that happen on small scales. You got your serial killers and, you know, stuff like that. Andrew Jackson's right up there. He was the first one to like consciously be like, American doctrine is genocide of the Native Americans. Plus he was a slaver and just an awful shitty human being. King Leopold, what he did in the Congo is probably on a scale to like what Hitler did to Jews and Roma in Europe. We don't talk about King Leopold as much because most people don't realize what he did in the Congo. They just don't know. Leopold was a monster. Absolute monster. I mean, and if you disobeyed, you got your hands cut off. And then they started trading hands around as like good luck charms. So they started chopping people's hands off for the hell of it, for the good luck charms. Just shitty stuff. Awful, awful, awful stuff. Genghis Khan, you know, the dude rampaged his way across Eurasia and murdered and raped his way through millions of people. I mean, to this day, over 200 million people who are alive today descended from Genghis Khan. That's quite the lineage. I think the second highest, there was like a baron in Ireland who now has like 3 million descendants. Again, impressive. But Genghis Khan was a number unto his own. And, you know, there was logic behind what he was doing. Granted, he's probably like, hey, this feels good. And I'm a psychopath. But, you know, he would destroy a village. He'd be like, hey, I kicked your ass. So now, all the people that I spared, you belong to me. And when I go fight a battle, I may call for you to come and help us in this battle. And you must come. And if you don't come, I will halt my battle. I will turn around, I'll come back, and I'll erase you from existence. And most people, after they got steamrolled by Genghis Khan, were like, okay, I guess I have to do what this guy tells me. But there was at least one case of a village in the Kazakh steppe that Genghis Khan got into a battle. He's like, hey, go get those people in that village and help us out. So send Scout back. Scout's like, hey, people in this village, you got to get in your horses. Come join Genghis. We're going to go fight. And they're like, yeah, we're not joining that crazy asshole. And so Scout's like, that's probably a mistake. You're going to want to do this. And they're like, no, fuck you. And so Scout goes back. He's like, hey, Genghis, people in that village won't come help. And Genghis is like, cease all fighting. We'll do a truce for now. I got something to take care of. They went back. They murdered all the people. Crushed all their bones into powder. So there's no remnants of them. They murdered all their animals. Crushed all their bones into powder. Burned their houses down to dust. Smashed all their pottery to dust. And destroyed any artifact possible. And just, it blended in with the steppe hillsides. And the people and the town and the history were erased forever. That is brutal. That is heavy metal, man. And then Genghis is like, well, back to original battle. Like, that's genocide on a level that we have never seen. We've seen genocide happen in the Balkans. We've seen genocide happen in Rwanda. We've seen genocide happen here in the American continent with the native peoples. There are still Hutus and Tutsis in existence. There are still, ethnic Serbs and Croats and Bosnians in the Balkans. There are still Native Americans here. There are entire cultures in the steppe region of Eurasia who were wiped from existence, and all record of their existing is gone. All there was left was oral history about how Genghis Khan wiped these people out. That's it. You can't find their homes. You can't find their fire pits. They're gone. That's more gnarly than like any person has ever done. And we're like, man, Genghis Khan was a great strategist. Yeah, for a complete psychopath with like unrelenting control. But like, you gotta think about, this is 1,200 years ago. This is before we had like modern warfare and all that stuff. Like what he accomplished was pretty incredible. But in modern times, when we've got like thousands upon thousands of years of philosophy and history and knowledge about what is right and wrong and how to do things, we've got weird laws about how you can conduct war, which seems like war should just be like, you kill everything you can. But no, we've agreed upon like, this is how you conduct war. You protect the citizens, you fight military targets, you can only use these things, you can't use these other weapons. So if and when we have people who ignore those norms we've established, they get put on a different level. And plus, there's people around who remember it, right? There's people around who remember the Holocaust. So that plays on a different level than people from 800 years ago who faced Genghis Khan because they're dead. And their kids are dead. And plus, half of them are related to Genghis Khan anyway. So like, well, he is my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. That's a tough one. Who's the worst? I'd say probably Genghis Khan. Modern times, Leopold, Hitler, Mussolini, Franco, Pinochet, Pol Pot, Mobutu, who else? I'll think of more terrible people. Jeffrey Dahmer's, whatever. But people of best who improve society. I mean, yeah, you got the folks that invented things like insulin, vaccines against polio, smallpox, invented hand washing, iodized salt. That's a huge one. Getting rid of like malaria in regions. Public sanitation is probably the most important one. Why are you doing your breathy little whines, dog? You can come up here and you can bother this cat anytime you want. You don't need to whine at me. She's just like doing this breathy whine and staring at me. Buddy, chill. Single person who had the greatest effect. I mean, the Romans and the Greeks had public sewage and things like that. Getting the poo away from town, which the mainland Europeans really couldn't figure out for another 1,000 years, 2,000 years. It was pretty rough there. I'd think about that. Think about that. Probably the person who convinced modern society to have sewer systems. Probably that person. I tip my hat to you. Okay. Where was I? Walker Rats, Houston. I have 121,000 IQ. Do your thing for my $300 price target. Well, that will be 30 mil for me. That would be pretty good. But if they're going to file an S1 and there's some sort of timeline in there, you may kick yourself for selling at 300. I don't want to tell you what price you should sell at, but if I sell at $300, I'm doing all right. You've got like 10 times the stocks I do, but that's enough to literally retire on for me. I don't need much to get by. But I'm holding out for more. So, if we know we got like 5 days of position close only, sit back, relax, take a load off. And maybe when we get close to the end of those 5 days, the price will be so stupid high, we'll be like, you know what? I'll take it. And I'll buy back in when the price normalizes out again. First name, last name. By the way, everyone, I didn't win the Powerball, but then again, someone in California did. Oh, someone in California won the Powerball? I didn't see that. It was like 1.75 billion, right? Powerball, California town reacts to selling winning ticket. 1.73 billion. Nice. Good job. May the person who won be an ape who starts Moas for us. Left-hand wave. I only follow you and 2 people on Blue Sky. Who do you like to follow? Oh, man. Click on my account and see who I follow. It's a lot of you folks. And then I really like people who make news, and I like shit posters. Because shit posters are hilarious. So that's a lot of people who I follow. Newsmakers, shit posters. Yeah. So there you go. Bitcoin, trillions, trillions, and trillions owed by shorts is more money than exists in the world. No one gets paid. Thoughts? They'll have to print. And when they print, they'll probably do something crazy like make 100-year bonds to pay it off. Because by the time 100 years has gone on, inflation's got so high they can pay off that trillion and you don't care. That's probably where it's going to be. This is literally a wealth transfer. So the billionaires who have these family funds and the billionaires who are members of these hedge funds, they're getting liquidated of everything. The billionaires who own those banks, they're getting liquidated. And only then, after they're liquidated, will the government step in and be like, okay, we'll help you survive. Or maybe they'll do a negotiated settlement or whatever. I don't know. But it's they're going to have to pay. And they're going to have to realize their infinite risk at some point. And the system that allowed them to take on this much risk over and over and over will have to change. In the post-mortem of all this, that's going to be the conclusions by the investigators from Congress, from the SEC, from the FBI. They're going to go, yeah, we basically let this crap happen and we did not do our darndest to stop it. That's on us, and we're going to have to change that with new rules and regulations so that when the next system comes about, we can make sure this doesn't happen again. The derivatives market is $600 trillion. That's how much liability is there. 600 trillion. That money went somewhere. There's reports that there's 400 trillion offshore just from American rich people alone. 400 trillion offshored. Very often you might read about someone, oh, this guy's worth $1 billion. Well, he might be worth $1 billion. He may have tens or hundreds of billions offshore that we don't know about that are not included in that because it's shell company after shell company after shell company that controls all that. So there may be people way more wealthy than we know because all we know is their reported wealth, not the stuff they've been hiding offshore. And, they blink out of existence, then all the banks in the Caymans are screwed because they don't have insurance. Right? there's not a population large enough in the Cayman Islands to support how many trillions of dollars are offshored there. So we may see a collapse to the global offshore banking system, which happened in 2008, 2009 when Iceland went belly up. Iceland was financing yachts for millionaires and billionaires and all sorts of things, and they just went toast. And they're like, well, I guess we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to fish. So, yeah. Dubiwa 420. Is it true that Schwab will automatically transfer my NextBridge shares to AST when TD America is moved over? I don't know. I had not heard that. So I don't know. I can't answer you that way, Dubiwa. I don't know where you'd find that answer. Maybe call TD and ask them if that's going to be the case. Or Schwab, one way or the other. Jay, what do you think will happen with IEP? They're still paying a $4 annual dividend and it's shorted to under $18 per share. Oh, man. You're getting really, really, really good returns on that. My speculation is Carl Icahn, he owns like 83% of all the shares in that company. That he gave those shares to a proxy in return for a giant cash loan. So the proxy now controls the shares. Icahn does not. I have the feeling that Icahn is going to take this cash. He's going to go and he's going to buy up all the remaining shares of IEP, probably register them and take the company private, and force a short squeeze on the stock. That's what I think is going to happen. Because as long as the shares are controlled by a proxy, he's going to have to report the purchase of those shares as an insider until it's done. So I think he's maneuvering. He's going to trap those shorts like he's trapped shorts time and time again. He trapped the shorts from his first companies that he got involved in as an activist investor, all the way through things like Herbalife. He went to war. That documentary is pretty eye-opening. I'm glad you guys recommended it to me. He went to war with a dude who was on the short side of Herbalife and destroyed him. He's like, I'm taking the opposite side because I hate your guts. And then the stock hit record levels, got to record highs. And the other dude's like, I'm out. You win. Fuck. So, yeah, I would not be messing with this man. He is a pro at destroying shorts. And the one time it appears that he got it wrong was with TWA. And that's largely because the unions with TWA promised him one thing and then did another. They're like, hey, I can save our company. He's like, I can't. Like, you guys are going out of business. You cost too much money. And like, we'll give you all these concessions on our contracts. And he was like, if you give those concessions, yeah, I'll save your company. And so he bought the stock, went to save the company, and the flight attendants were like, I remember those concessions? Nah. And he was like, what the fuck? You promised me those concessions, and I came in to save your company, and now gave me those concessions, now I can't save your company, so you guys are going bankrupt. Sorry. Peace. And that's basically what happened. So, you can't win them all, but my God, does he win a lot of them. So, yeah. And then now with his son on board, he's much more tech savvy. He's looking at this stuff in a different lens through a more modern economy than what he was doing as of old. So, yeah, I wouldn't mess with that dude. First name, last name. Sell what you feel. I was talking about Walker's holdings there. We'll talk about ladder selling. Kelly Reed, housing industry urges Powell to stop raising interest rates or risk an economic hard landing. Bruh, we'll be in one soon enough. Buckle up, apes. Yeah. That's what they'll talk soft landing. There's no way to ever soft land the economy. The economy has never soft landed in history. It's always been like, oh my God, I didn't see that coming. When there's been people yelling like, oh my God, it's coming for days, weeks, months, years ahead of that. Yeah, it's that's what it is. Anyway. Hillary, the short-term yields have begun their collapse. Long-term yields are also declining now, slower than short-term yields, meaning the uninversion continues. Final stage of bubble pop coming. I'm going to pop a gummy bear right now because they're delicious and they've been staring at me. It's all gummy bear. Mike Kemper, I have 1020 calls on BBYQ. Am I out of luck? Not a clue, man. I mean, they could file something before then, and maybe you'll have a shitload of cash on your hands. We won't know until the 20th happens, really. So, I don't know. Like, did the OCC file that document because they were asked to by Butterfly? Or did they file that document thinking, oh, it's over? Or did they file that document in order to force Butterfly's hand sooner? Moving everyone's calls to the 20th. It's I'm curious. I'm curious. There was no response from Butterfly about the OCC, so that tells me like, hey, no, we're okay with it. Yeah, I don't know. Boom. Snort alert. Oh, Houston, do you align with PP Show's Butterfly dates for next week? Again, it's speculation. We can hope for those dates to think, oh, it makes sense if it was this date and this date and this thing would happen. But then again, I would have thought they would have filed this stuff 2 Mondays ago, and they didn't. So I'm the worst one to predict when this is going to happen. I just know they have to file something at some point. When is up to them. I can predict all day long, and I will probably be wrong all day long. The best way to do it is to make a prediction that's going to happen tomorrow, and do that tomorrow and the day after and the day after. And eventually, it'll be right, and then they'll be seen as a genius. So let's say it happens tomorrow. And when it doesn't happen tomorrow, I'm going to say it happens on Saturday. When it doesn't happen on Saturday, I'll say it happens on Sunday. And then I'll say it happens on Monday, and so on. Okay. Lucas Speed, I'm confident in our BBY Butterfly shares, but I'm ready to see some price action. Yes. Me too. Let's act on some prices. Right, Monkey? Yes. She's ready. Coffee Donuts at home. Grab more 10 more GME. Excellent. Ryan, 1XYZ, absolute last minute. Oops, we aren't bankrupt. Pretty much. Dan Margelo, World War III or MOAS, what's the over-under? I bet the doomsday clock is probably like 2 minutes to midnight right now. Will MOAS happen first, or will World War III happen first? Right now, I'm feeling MOAS. MOAS seems like it has more of a definitive date than World War III does at this point. Things in Israel and Palestine are chaos right now. Things in Ukraine are chaos. One thing I think that's coming out in the news was that Russia was backing Hamas in this play, which was I think a very large blunder if that's true, because Israel had not been providing very many weapons systems to Ukraine, despite Ukraine begging, and despite one of the largest Jewish populations outside of Israel residing in Ukraine. Now this will give Israel all the incentive they could ever need to load up Ukraine with as many weapons as they want. Air defense, you name it, Iron Dome style weapons, tanks, jets, bombers, mortars, all sorts of things. I think a large part of Israel's population in modern times are ex-Soviet Union folks in the occupied West Bank. And a lot of those people are Russian native speakers. And a lot of them probably still support Russian things. So that's probably affected a lot of how Netanyahu deals with the West Bank, deals with newer Jewish settlers, and with Russia in general. But finding out that Russia supplied weapons and munitions to someone who just slaughtered 1,000 of your civilians, that's going to be really hard to ignore. And especially if this results in Netanyahu getting kicked out, because it's also looking like he was purposely paying more attention to West Bank issues than Gaza issues, that the Egyptians had given them very solid intel as to the date and when this was going to happen and how it was going to happen, and that his administration ignored it. There's heads are going to roll, and he's in a very tentative coalition. He does not have a majority, like a solid majority. He had to appease a whole bunch of these coalitions, and there's a far right group that's centered around settlers in the West Bank, and they could easily just be like, you know what, no confidence, and all of a sudden his entire coalition falls apart, and either a new election has to happen or a new coalition has to form. And I don't think Netanyahu is going to have the ability to form a new coalition after all this. I think someone wants someone's head for this complete failure in intelligence, and he's probably going to be that guy. So, I mean, before this, he was facing millions and millions and millions and millions of protesters over the fact he wanted to overhaul the courts and remove their independence, because the courts have been like, yeah, you're corrupt and we find you guilty. So obviously I got to change the courts because they don't like me. Yeah, I don't think the population is going to put up with Netanyahu anymore after this. I think this is such a clusterfuck that he's probably done politically. And that's probably the best thing for the region and the world, or my own personal opinion. Now, does that mean Israel will join Ukraine? Probably not, but they will probably start supplying weapons like crazy. But that's still, I think that's a little further away than whatever's going to happen with Bed Bath & Beyond. So here we sit. Don't drop the soap. It must be killing you to be far left liberal, but also Jewish. Do you wave the Palestinian flag, American flag, or battle flag, Northern Virginia? Well, I'm not a Confederate. I'm also not a Jingo patriot. And no, I don't wave the Palestinian flag, nor do I wave the flag of Israel. I think Israel and Palestine is a clusterfuck that may never get solved. And it's just going to be sadness and death and destruction in perpetuity. And I wish there was a solution for it, but I'm afraid there might not be. Innocent people are going to die. I mean, Rosa, our friend of the show, tweeted out yesterday that her cousin, who's a journalist, was killed in Gaza, along with 11 other journalists. Like, these are things affecting people's lives day in, day out. Whichever side you happen to be on, if you have a side, it's brutal. You know, my roommate's been freaking out for a week because people he know are dying over there, and you know, I know people who are members of the IDF, and they're having to go and fight this stuff. And you know, it's just one clusterfuck on top of another. I mean, before the 1967 war, what is now Gaza was controlled by the Egyptians, and the Egyptians were a very secular nation. They did not want the Muslim Brotherhood. They didn't want Islamists. So they cracked down hard on Islamists. And then when Israel took over administration of Gaza, they are a democracy who just like, oh, you can believe whatever religion you want. What we care about are the socialists and the nationalists. So they cracked down on PLO, Fatah, whatnot, and kind of let the Muslim Brotherhood do their thing. And the Muslim Brotherhood became Hamas, which became a terrorist organization eventually, or freedom fighters, if you want to. One man's terrorist, another man's freedom fighter, depending on which side of the battle you're on. And around 2007, the Likud party, Netanyahu, and Hamas, the terrorist organization, came to an agreement to wipe out Fatah and the PLO. They just straight up kill everybody, bombed their buildings. All the leadership of Fatah was gone from Gaza. They were wiped out. And even now, like, the highest ranking leadership left of Fatah was assassinated back in June in a refugee camp in Lebanon. So I personally believe the Likud and Hamas did this on purpose because both of them gain power by war. Like if times are good and peace is a possibility, Likud doesn't win parties. But if war is on the horizon, they do. And I think they're probably just as guilty as the members of Hamas who committed this atrocity. That they knew it was coming and they went, ah, la, 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 and they just put on blinders and let it happen because it solidified the population behind them. I mean, we had millions of folks that were reservists in the IDF who were protesting the court decisions, protesting Netanyahu's wanting to overhaul the court. And they're like, no, we're not going to show up to reserve duty. We're not. And they weren't reporting because they wanted Netanyahu to back off. And what's one way to get them all to report? War. All of a sudden, they all reported. Why? Because their country's under attack and they have to. So I think Netanyahu thought this was going to serve his benefit. What I don't think was he thought that the info that he was given intel saying this was going to happen was going to surface. And that's the part where he's like, shit. So there's going to be change, but there's also going to be a whole bunch of death. And my heart breaks for all of that. I just don't think that there's ever going to be a solution personally. And we're just going to be stuck reliving the cycle over and over and over. And there we are. Ludicrous Speed, reverse repo has been dropping. Your take on what it means. Banks need cash. And so not participating in reverse repo means they have to use cash to make sure the customers can have access to the deposits. Remember, deposits are dropping. And whether it's dropping because they're pulling them out or they're dropping because people are just spending the money because they have no choice. The banks have been trying to keep that cash, or the Fed Reserve has been trying to keep that cash out from circulating by doing the reverse repo. But if the reverse repo is dropping, that means there's less banks participating, which means those banks need that cash for their customers. So that's what I think it means. Yeah. It's probably not the best sign that it's happening. And eventually the Fed might be like, well, we need all that cash in the economy now, so no more reverse repo. Have at it, boys. And suddenly like 1.8 trillion suddenly floods back into banks all of a sudden. Scott Pollen, Houston, check this out, this sick building. Hell yeah, brother. Let's see where we're going there, Scott. Boom. One sec. Google Earth got turned off. Un momento, por favor. And Google Earth's going to be made way too large in this window, and then I got to make it small. Oh, there we go. Work. All right, where are we going? We're going to right. Wait. 21 north, 11 west. Wait a minute. I think that's the of Africa. Hey, you jerk. I'm not going there. Nice try. Nice try, Scott. Mario Valdez, I keep seeing gloom and doom about BBY on Twitter from a shill, and it's so annoying. If I could go through the internet and punch him in the face, I would. You know what? Whoever invents that technology is probably going to be a billionaire themselves. If you reach through the internet and just punch someone in the face, you'll make a fortune. DM says, Houston. Okay. Treetop, I wonder if she contacted him through Twitter, the cesspool of the earth. Very likely. Aron Sound Team, finger closed well today. 672 is short squeeze tomorrow, Houston. Their options contracts are next Friday. So if they can maintain growth like this, price-wise, through Friday and generate a whole bunch of gamma, that's going to be the key for finger. Last month, they did the same thing. It rose and rose and rose and rose and rose. And then on that Friday, got hammered down. So none of the contracts win the money. So, see where it goes. BBBY millionaire. Hello. Hello. Ichigo. Fits the bill. Bex Houston, happy birthday. Adam Aaron Herc is so gross. So gross. Yeah. Can you imagine, like, being a call girl and you get called and you're like, well, the money's good. And then you see this wrinkly suit and like food stains and you're like, oh, things I do to make a living. At least press your suit and get it dry clean, man. Oh, I'm an hour and 15 minutes behind so far. Oof. Talked about that. We talked about that. Okay, sorry, guys. There have been lots of conversations here, and I got to scroll past them. Talked about that already. Talked about going to the moon. Trevor Bauer. Thank you, DB. That's who I was thinking of. Trevor Bauer. He was the one. I think he had sticky stuff on his fingers and was getting way too much spin on the balls. That's how he's doing it. It was long suspected. Alex F. Get Houston on the Mariners. I do not have a fastball anymore. That is long gone. I did a pitch speed thing. I was like 71 miles an hour, and I thought my arm was going to fall off. I was throwing as hard as I possibly could. So I'm out of shape. I mean, maybe you give me 6 weeks of spring training, maybe I'll get my ball back up in the 80s. But right now, no, not going to happen. I'm old. I'm 42 and a half years old. I could sit there as an old man and tell people how to do things, and I'd be good at that. Like, what the hell are you doing? Do it like this. And then go back to sitting in my chair. I want to tee off on you. Monkey butt. What's with that look? Are you? Because you don't have a bed, and I'm an hour and a half behind the chat. I might as well do some of that. I got a boatload of. Oh, goodness gracious! I got so much meats. Oh my goodness, so much meat. Oh, and the monkey's finally happy. She's finally happy. Okay. So close. We're getting to the bottom of this thing, monkey. We got a couple more days left in here. Oh, so beefy. But this is my chicken jerky that Ava sent that looks as good like I could eat it. You know this little guy right there? Yeah? That little guy? Oh. How we get tall for that one? Go up there for it? Yep. Oh, there you go. Get really tall. Really tall. Come on. Really tall. There you go. And right now there's some boxes in the way of the Jaws cams. I'll do the Jaws cam out here. Oh, come on. Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah, a whole bunch of puzzle boxes in the way of the Jaws cam. So, Jaws cam from distance. Okay. Josh Dobbs, post Moas, I get 9 swings on you, Wade. By all means, I pitch a mean batting practice. You will definitely tee off on me. So, for our 4th of July charity game that we do for the High School Boosters Club every 4th of July, I pitched 1 inning to close out a game, and it was my only 3-pitch inning in my entire life. It was, I had no warm-up time. I was probably throwing 60 miles an hour tops. Like, it was not I would just throw fastballs. I didn't throw anything else, just 4-seam fastballs. And I figured, yeah, these guys are old like me. They'll put in play. We'll get outs. First pitch, double, all the way to right center field, like bounces off the fence. Dude's on second base. Well, that didn't go well. Second pitch, ball goes the exact same spot. But this time, the center fielder's there, catches the ball, throws it in, picks off the guy at second base. 2 outs, 2 pitches. Third pitch, the ball goes all the way to the fence, the exact same spot. Center fielder catches again. 3-pitch inning with a base runner and a hit. I have never done a 3-pitch inning in my entire life. There's only been like 200 of them in Major League history. So that I was pretty proud of that. And my arm felt good. I only had to do 3 pitches. I threw like 10 times that much warming up. So you will definitely get some air if I'm out there. And all I can do is throw a fastball because I haven't done anything else in a year. But yeah. You don't stare at me anymore, monkey. You got your treats. It's all done. Come on. Join the cat. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Join the cat. Dog. Okay. PP working overtime. PP working overtime. Constantine Priscaru guessing the Magnus effect. That's exactly what it is. Creating difference in air pressure on the bottom top of the ball. Same stuff used in airsoft replicas. Yep. That's exactly what's happening. Magnus effect. And the more spin you get, the more of an effect you have. You guys ever seen the videos? Like you take like a basketball and you spin it and drop it off like a bridge and it just flies away from the bridge. That's all Magnus effect as well. Trend, yes, class actions are a thing here, probably cheaper too. Oh, in the UK, good, because if those brokerages, Hargreaves and Lansdowne, stole your shares and the price goes to the moon, take them for everything they have left. That's what I say. Maui Sam is sad to think of Lahaina's party for Halloween, best ever. A whole bunch of, if and when rebuilding happens, you guys are going to have massive, amazing, we're back parties. That's for sure. I'll fly out there and party with you. Caesar Hands, thoughts on mass protests scheduled for tomorrow regarding an ongoing war. Mass protests where? I don't know. Tammy G, what if this bribery story or blackmail story is Adam Aron's get out of AMC free card after completely effing over the shareholders? And that would be convenient. Embarrassing. Very embarrassing, but convenient. I mean, I don't know if I'd want to be like, hey, a wife I've been married to for 38 years. Been cheating on you. With children. Probably not the best thing to have going into divorce court, especially when she can take the hundreds of millions of dollars you've made, a whole bunch of it, in like the house in Breckenridge and all that stuff. Probably not the best move financially. Fred Jones, Houston, do you think AMC is over $11 because of Adam Aron's shame? If so, come on, Adam, get blackmailed again. I mean, $11 translates to $1.10 pre-reverse split. So down from the high of $77. Calculator game. Boink. Come on. So 1.1, divided by 77. So it is down 98.6% from the June 2021 highs. That's 1.4% of what the original price was. Remember, $77 is the equivalent of $770 today. So would you rather have a stock price at $770 or at $11? Not that great. It needs to go up a whole bunch to make a bunch of people whole. I mean, just from the lows, the low price in March, April 2021, the price has to be $50. So there literally is not a short who is not winning on this stock right now because the price is so low. Before merger, the price was like $4 and $5 a share. Before they merged the apes, right? That's equivalent of $40 to $50. They do the reverse split, the price drops down to like $8. It's 80 cents pre-split. They're fine. Every single short in the entire world is totally fine on this right now. They can let it ride and they're good. Tammy G, if Adam Aron has no conscience when cheating on his wife, why would he care about effing over his shareholders? I mean, if you were in the military and you get caught doing something like this, you get dishonorably discharged. Like, cheating on your spouse is grounds for discharge. So, be stronger than your lizard brain, man. Be stronger than your lizard brain. We're really stupid, Houston. That's not my beard I'm stroking. Z, oh my god, dude, with nub. Adam Aron has no skin in the game. He's just prepping and takes his golden parachute. Exactly. He sold all his shares. He sold $43 million worth of shares in the last couple of years, plus took millions of dollars of compensation and bonuses. 2020, the worst year AMC will ever have. He took a $20 million cash bonus. I mean, I would love to have a $20 million cash bonus. I could live off that sucker like a king for the rest of my life. But don't pretend like, all the hard work I've done, I need it. Your company's failing miserably at a time when it needs to save as much cash as possible. Like, if you were in it for the shareholders, then you wouldn't be taking that money. But you're not. You're just like, well, $20 million, $20 million. Screw the rest of you guys because I can afford to. Cheshire, Houston. Is there a date when redacted names of owners have to be revealed to the public on BBYQ? Thanks, Monkey Butt. Get you Batman want treats. Where's Big Dog? Big Dog's at my sister's house, being insane. I'm sure when bankruptcy's all done, they'll have to reveal everyone who is behind all these financings, and that may get revealed to us in an S1 document, in a document naming the CEO, in S4 documents, regarding share distributions. Like, we may see that stuff happen. Man, when's it going to happen? Adam's sweaters make more sense now. Okay. Ruler Zod Legacy Channel. What's y'all's time frame before you accept BBYQ is dead and this whole butterfly thing isn't happening? Beginning of 2024, can we call it? I'm rooting for y'all. They're going to have to tell us who the CEO is by the end of the month. We've got a final hearing on the 24th. There's one on the 17th and one on the 24th. But those are regarding leases, so who gives a shit? Like, it's just like one guy won the bid on the lease, but another guy took the lease, and now they're fighting each other in this court. So I'm not sure that really pertains to Butterfly as a debtor in this. So we'll find out probably before 2024, be my guess. Maui Sam started Treasure Hunters Incorporated on Maui in 1994. 1998 missed our Reg A filing. eBay made $54 million first quarter. A member shared market price. Everyone wins, not just corporate. Maui Sam started Treasure Hunters Incorporated in Maui 1994. 1998 missed our Reg A filing. eBay made $54 million first quarter. Members shared marketplace. Everyone wins, not just corporate. Maui Sam? I think there's some wisdom in there, but I can't quite figure out what it is. There's a reset of the chat. Okay. Like Costco on steroids. Costco on steroids is a good business model to have. They make their profit year in, year out, steady growth, making all their members happy. And if you piss off their owners have enough cash on hand to take the company private anytime they want. So, yeah, I dig the leadership at Costco. They make sure all their employees get great wages and have ample time off and all the benefits they could possibly need. They try to do a huge markup on the cost of goods because they let the membership price be their profit. I think it's a pretty awesome business model. Ordinary angler, how to get in on butterfly when this goes down. It all depends on how that S1 is worded. Like, is it worded in a way it's like, hey, we're going to go back to the exchange and we'll be back on NASDAQ. As they put back on the exchange, the price slowly grows? Or will it be, you got 5 days to close this shit, and the price is so insane that you don't even have a chance to get in? It could go any way. We just got to wait for that thing to happen. Maui Sam's sister was married at Sammy Hagar's house on Maui. Many, many butterflies flew that day many, many years ago. And those butterflies can't drive 55. JJ, post why there are 3 stocks you should keep your eyes on, in my words. Mavis, ASTS, what's ASTS? AST Space Mobile Incorporated. Corporate. Oh my God, I can't say that word. Incorporated. There we go. Incorporated? What's wrong with my brain? AST Space Mobile. Company building the first and only space-based cellular broadband network accessed directly by standard mobile phones. Interesting. And BB, BlackBerry. Used to be RIM, Research and Motion. RIM job. Noted. Derek Course, if this is the big weight, will seem short. If it's a fizzle, I'm going to be pretty bummed. And I think we all will. Like, it's either tax write-off or a big win. That's how I have to view it. And in the meantime, it's an entertainment expense. So, are we not entertained? Twiddling our thumbs forever and ever and ever and ever. Ruler's odd because Bobby and Jimmy can't both be lost. I think the entire basket goes. If Bed Bath & Beyond triggers forced buybacks of these shares, that means they're getting liquidated and all short positions are getting closed out. Everything goes. So you're not just looking at the possible trillions of this one stock happening. Look at the trillions of all the other stocks happening. And the liability just explodes. So, shoot for the moon, man. You may as well. Right? You may have so many stocks exploding in your folder, like, oh my God, I didn't know this was going to happen, that you just have no choice but to stare at it and try to figure out and lock in your limit orders and everything. It could all just go. Proposed stupid. Jon Snow is largely responsible for modern sewage and waste disposal ideas. Not that Jon Snow. Jon Snow of the North. Noted. Thank you for poorly stupid. John Carlos, which is butterfly stock? Bed Bath & Beyond bankrupt stock, Q stock, is now butterfly, but there's no ticker attached to it. There's no name attached to it. We're just waiting for them to do something with it. Don C. Shadem is out. See you, bud. Danny Motes, Houston, happy birthday. Heading to Kauai next week. Any recommendations? I've only been there once. My favorite spot that I went to was there was a really cool, kind of in the middle of the island, a really cool swimming pond with waterfalls. Maybe the waterfall's 20 feet high, but there's dozens of rope swings everywhere. That place was awesome. And I thought it was really cool. There's so many beaches that you could go to a different beach every day and not hit the same beach twice easily. So much sandy beaches. What else did we do there? Sat on the beach, went surfing, visited some caves, drove up to the rainiest spot in the entire world, got rained on, ate a lot of food, went to swimming holes. Kind of the things we did in the Big Island. But Maui is really sleepy. Kauai. Kauai is really sleepy. It is, the population of Kauai is 50,000. There's some hotels and everything, and there's some old plantations and stuff, but it's a sleepy little burg. So if beaches and waterfalls aren't your thing, then there's not really much Disneyfication of that place. as you can get with other islands. Matthew, the investigations after it blows up won't blame professional short investors. The blame placed on retail, just like retail caused a squeeze in January 2021. Yeah, they'll try, but the fact that all the hedge funds blew up on their liabilities, that I don't think they'll be able to get the public to believe that one. Ryan1XYZ. Andrew Ross Sorkin told Dumb Money director that Gabe Plotkin bought a sports team, implying that he must be doing well. The irony is that team was owned by Michael Jordan, who lost money with Plotkin. Exactly. Like, basically, Plotkin lost Jordan a bunch of money, and Plotkin had to give Jordan that money back for the sports team, which allowed Jordan to now enter as the first athlete on the Forbes 500. So, oops. Nate P., what do you think about Wells Fargo being the new transfer? There were some rumors about... I got to eat a gummy bear. There were some rumors about ICANN doing something with Wells Fargo. That, like, when this is all said and done, Teddy and Wells Fargo blend together, and then it becomes this giant bank. That all seems like rumors to me at this point. And why you'd want a bank that will probably blink out of existence in a market crash to be your transfer agent / do any business with them seems kind of weird, unless maybe there's something magic in the background. We'll see. Since before, Senator Bob Menendez charged with conspiracy to act as a foreign agent of Egypt in new indictment, who was chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee at that time of the alleged actions. What the fuck? Yeah, Menendez should be forced out. They should pass a resolution to just kick him out of the Senate. A resolution got posted today to kick out George Santos. So, like, George Santos is facing so many charges, and Menendez is facing so many charges, and some people have turned state's evidence against them. You have this many people turning state's evidence against you, you do not come out of that prosecution without a conviction. But get rid of them. If you got criminals in the House and Senate, get rid of them. I don't care what party they're from. They're criminals. Bye-bye. And they need to be gone. 24 The Money. Butterfly is an empty shell with no assets other than billions and nulls. How else can 6th Street and whoever provided the dip Philo loans be made whole? There's only one way, the nulls plus new equity. Bing, bing. The simplest way to say that. Good job, 24 The Money. Like, there are billions and billions and billions of dollars in nulls. Why would you spend $540 million providing dip and Philo facilities, right? If you weren't going to get something back. Who spends $540 million out of, like, you know what, here's a good guy, so I'll make sure he goes through bankruptcy just fine. I'm okay with it. I don't need anything. No one. Right? You spend $540 million when you know you're going to get something out of it worth more than $540 million. So, here we wait. Korean name, I think, was it this person that it translates to? I forgot. Fight between Bill Ackman and Carl Icahn is quite entertaining. Kicking each other's butts on press, but hugging with big smile when they physically met. I can hardly do that. Sociopaths operate different, man. And since 54, George Santos faces 10 new federal charges, including allegations of stealing donors' identities, running up fraudulent credit card charges. Yeah, if you donated to him via credit card, he just kept charging you. So, yeah, he's going to prison. Sean Lee, say you won MOAS money. Where would you put it? I'd probably put a huge chunk into dividend stocks and maybe speculatively IEP just to see what ICANN does with it. I would buy, we're talking if I've got cajillions, right? I would buy out a huge portion of No Labs. Just not enough to be an insider because I don't want to like work on a board or anything. But enough that if and when they get their FDA approval, that, hey, that's billions right there. I would also, like, if MOAS happens, I would also play puts on every single solitary stock that explodes in it. If all these stocks are going to thousands of dollars a share, I will gladly buy puts in all of them, knowing that they're going to come right back down to normal again and double, triple, quintuple, dectimal my winnings as well. I would also figure that the Dow and SPY will collapse in this process as things get liquidated. So, that would probably trigger a big panic in Wall Street. Sell-off would happen, and I would scoop up everything from the bottom and just let it climb again, and then live off the dividends and turn off my brain and sit on the beach and sway in a hammock and just sit there for a while. Just let the calmness wash over me. Maybe cool off in the water for a little bit. Take a nap. Read a book. Go for a walk. Then, be like, oh, I'm too warm. It's time for me to fly to Switzerland and go visit my chalet. Go skiing for a little while. And then I'll get bored of that. Be like, what I gotta do? I gotta go to the desert. I want to go look at some rocks. And then I'll go to the desert and look at some rocks. And after a while, I'll be like, you know what? I've got a lot of these high desert, dry boogers. Maybe it's time to go to the beach again. And then I'm going to go to the beach. I'm just going to do that for a while until I'm inspired to do something else. So that's what's going to happen. Ruler's best place to buy a beach mansion after Moas. Oh, man. Depends on what type of beach you want. Do you want waves? Do you want cool lagoons? Do you want angry nor'easters? Cheap-wise, Ecuador. Although Ecuador's government is not quite as stable as it used to be, the cartels are kind of starting to make themselves known there that when they had been kept at bay for a long time. Belize. You can buy islands pretty cheap in Belize. If you like waves, you look at Tahiti, Pacific Islands, places like that. Probably get some screaming deals in Thailand and Malaysia and Indonesia. Bali. Well, the water, sometimes can be beautiful because sometimes you get big rains and all of a sudden there's plastic bags everywhere. There are lots of beaches in Australia, although some of the great beaches might be really hard to get to, but it might be easy to build a little cabin out there, just have no way to get groceries. So, gotta think about that. System 54, the Williams Company's WMB Northwest Pipeline is a major pipeline network that runs through Pacific Northwest and supplies huge amounts of natural gas to the Seattle area and other markets. Okay. Word. Nate P, there's new video going around of the storming of the East military base by Hamas, and there's actually Russian being... I don't see anything else that says there. A lot of the videos are not real, especially the ones that have been on Twitter. So I've just been not watching videos because I don't know which ones are real, which ones are for previous conflicts, which ones are opposite sides doing their things. I'll wait for some confirmation from folks. Granite Bandit Elixir cost is actually looking juicy at under 3. It's under its book value. It's got a lot more cash than debt. Its float is stupid small and no option shenanigans. Not financialized, but I'm starting to accumulate. I will probably accumulate some more again. I had sold my costs during the June 2021. I bought in at 14 and then it went up to $40 and I sold then. And I bought in again and it went up to 20 something and I sold then. But I haven't had any more since then. But Cost has started advertising again. So if you guys know about Cost is a mostly family controlled company. The originators are all dead and their children control it. And they're like, meh. I'm happy not doing things. And so the shorts hammered it hard. They didn't really care because they had their money from it. They weren't doing much innovation. And now it seems like they got somebody in charge now who's like, we're going to do some innovation. We're going to make some cool stuff. We're going to start advertising. We're going to start selling things again. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign. And they squeezed a lot. They went to 127 during the sneeze. So that's the third highest stock, I think, price during stocks that squeezed at that time. So that's a good sign that there's squirrely stuff going on with them. I mean, seriously, they have a float of like 2 million. So it's so small there isn't even options chain. Like they can't make an options chain because the float's too small. So yeah. Daphne's out. See you, Daphne. 4:15. I got 15 minutes or so. Josh Dobbs, you see the Bigfoot video from a train in Colorado? Could have been AA, I suppose. Chris Taylor, Houston, just check Blue Sky and found that 4 invite codes. I'll send them to you via Reddit. Thank you. We'll collect them. Bum, bum, bum. All right. Wink. Okay. Oh, there's a reset of the chat. One sec. Good. There we go. All right. Jay Geyser, you always say post reverse split, but remember ape created via an actual split, so math weirder, leaving it off oversimplification. I mean, it took the price, right, and it split it into 2. And then they put it back together. So, and then diluted a whole bunch. So, say you had a stock that's at $10, and then you split this sucker off, so you got one at $4 and one at $6. Well, it's still $10. And the price of them both go down and down and down and down and down, and then they merge them together, and it's still a lower price than it was before you did the split. And they do a reverse split when you scoop 10 of them together, and now you're back. It's weird math, but if you had a $77 investment in June of 2021, that investment's now worth $1.10. So it's way down since then. Chris Holcomb, Houston, any thoughts on that current stock price? I have thoughts, cannot share them. Caesar hands, what's a rim job? Is that like getting a new upcaps? It means you're working for a telephone company, apparently. Treetop Adam Aron made the biggest mistake when he canceled shareholder vote in summer 2021. AMC wouldn't have any debt if dilution happened when the price was 30s and 40s. Yeah, I mean, they could have sold, what, 100 million shares at 30 and 40 bucks, paid off all their debt. Done. Instead, they sold hundreds of millions of shares and they made a couple $100 million. Okay. There you go. Oh, well. Frozen State Productions, happy birthday, Houston. What has 3 ears and hops, a bunny with a cob of corn? Yes, I wrote that one. Ugh. Bum, bum, bum. Imagine buying Tupperware at $1.50 calls last week for $3 contract. Tupperware exploding again? Tupperware is another one. Oh, $2.50. Oh, man. $3 for that call. Make $100 on it. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Man. Yeah. A good one. Daphne limes the shirt. Thank you, Daphne. I lime it too. Treetop, I was told you can retire and live like a king in Jamaica for about $250K. That's what locals say. I'm sure there's lots of places you can live like a king for that much. I have several friends that moved to Sayulita and near Puerto Vallarta in Mexico, and they're doing the retirement down there because it's so much cheaper, and one of the best sand beaches in the entire world happens to be there. So there's a bunch of Bainbridge. You go to Sayulita, Mexico, you'll like half the population are probably former people who lived on Bainbridge. It seems so many of them. Mario Valdez, a friend of mine, and his wife retired to Belize, had to come back to the States because his wife contracted malaria and needed better doctors and hospitals. That's also probably a drawback to some of the tropical locations, is that they have not taken care of malaria yet. So think about that. Don't get malaria. It sucks. I had a friend who got it, and yeah, do not recommend it. DRS Jamaican Moas costed a cool Supreme collab. I don't know what that means, but sure. Peachy Sunday's here, saying hello from the farmer's market. I'm selling veggies today. All right. DRS Jamaican Moas, I love my Koss headphones. Excellent. I had Koss headphones years and years and years ago. I don't know what happened to them. I've got Logitech wireless ones now. They're pretty good. Except the ear stuff keeps coming off on my head, so when I take them off, I got like little specks from the faux leather that was on the earmuff part. Silverback Caldwell, what's the ticket for No Labs? I'd like to look it up. KNW. That's who it is. Scott Goodwin. Houston have 200,000 shares of BBYQ. Will I be able to retire? I'm hoping to retire with my 15,000. So, I mean, price gets to $10, you got $2 million. After taxes, you still have $1 million, right? So, you can put it into a dividend stock like IEP, and you'll make what, $200,000 a year? Not too shabby. I can live off $200,000 a year. It's more than I make now. So, yeah, the price gets to $10, you've made millions. Price gets to $100, you've made many, many millions. Price gets to $1,000, that's fuck you money. Price goes beyond $1,000, well, at that point, you can do whatever you want. You can fund campaigns. You can be that guy in a smoke-filled back room deciding the fates of others. So I think you're going to do okay with 200,000 shares, personally. But it all comes down to what those filing documents say. I'm so sick of waiting for the filing documents. Just post them. Come on, SEC. Just put them up there. I wonder what they are. Pretty good. Houston, why do you think the meme stock folks and the true crime podcasters are avoiding connecting the naked shorting saga to the Epstein-Maxwell case? Avoiding perceived anti-Semitism? Afraid of AGM? That was Apollo. I mean, I don't know if there is a direct connection or just the fact that there's a bunch of rich pedophiles out there. I mean, if you're a sicko, which a lot of super rich people are, because a lot of people who are super rich have cluster B personality disorders, therefore they're just going to be sickos. And you've got the money to do whatever you want, whatever sickness you want to feed, you're going to do it. And so those folks are going to naturally gravitate towards each other. And I think that's what Epstein was preying on. I think Epstein was probably blackmailing people, and that's how he got his wealth. That he would put them in compromising situations where they were doing gross things, and then he would film them and be like, hey, you don't want this to be public, so you're going to give me some money, and we'll call it a day. And I think that's probably what he was doing. So I think that's how he made his fortune, because they really couldn't figure out how he actually made his money. He went and lived with the dude who owned Victoria's Secret out in this mansion in Ohio for a couple of years and returned rich. This is after he'd been like a school teacher at that private school in New York where he was working for AG Barr's dad. So, Bill Barr, all those guys, they're all connected. It's a small world when you're a sicko, I think. Richard K. with news of the Exxon sale today. Nextbridge is looking awful tasty these days, looking better each week for MMTL position. Yes, Exxon is buying Pioneer Natural Resources for about $250 billion. Oh, sorry, $60 billion, $250 a share, somewhere around there. Now, their Permian Basin oil field is much more developed. They're producing, lots of oil. But their reserves are about 2.2 billion barrels, which is 1.3 to 2 billion barrels fewer than the Oregon Basin lands that Nextbridge has. Now, Nextbridge is finally drilling to the point where they'll produce. Not just drilling exploratory holes. They're drilling and they're going to start pumping oil and selling it. Now, they get some infrastructure built off the sales of that oil. All of a sudden, these big oil companies might be looking at them like, they've got 3.5, 4 billion barrels of reserves. Maybe we'll offer them 70, 80, 90 billion dollars. Woo! Right? What's that, the calculator game? Let's say, okay, so first we got to go to the calculator and figure out we got, clear. $60 billion, right? Divided by, I think there's like 250 million shares. So, oops, did I do that wrong? Oh, is it 60 million? Sorry. 60 billion. 60 billion divided by 250 million. Right? So $240 a share. Cool. So that's 60 billion. Clear. 60 billion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. We divide that by the 2.2 billion barrels they have. And so we're looking at no, that's not right. What am I doing there? Did I do that math wrong again? Crying out loud. 60 billion. There we go. 60 billion divided by 2.2 billion. Okay. We're at $27 a barrel is what that was selling for. Okay. We multiply that by 4 billion. That's about how many barrels we think are in the university lands. And we're at $109 billion sale price. Divide that by the 250 million shares. And we're looking at $436 a share for Nextbridge if they get that oil field developed a little bit and entice a buyer. I'm comfortable with that. That's good carrying around money for a buyout. I would prefer them being forced to close their short positions and have that price be much, much, much bigger. Add a couple of zeros to that sucker. I'd be really happy with that. But, if I have to take a payout for my shares and it's $436, I'm cool. All right, $27 a barrel, sexy, super sexy. Okay. Docket drop. What? More docket dropping? Let's look. Order granting Gartner motion compel payment administrative expense claim. Objection to debtors, omnibus objection to certain tax claims. It has to do with that thing. Not payment administrative filed. Application attorney to Prohoc Vice. All right. None of these have a sexy title on them. That immediately screams out at me. That's about the hearing. That one came on earlier. All right. Documents will drop, but I'm not seeing anything with a sexy title yet. I'll let somebody who likes reading these things read them for me first. Chris Taylor, our friends at PP Show, were talking about augmented reality contact lenses last night. What do you think? What do you know? I'm sure they're going to be in the future. I just think that we're going to get this augmented reality stuff, and it's just going to do a number on schizophrenics. They're going to be, yeah. But no, it'd be exciting to like not know what's real and what is, because is that a monster or is that just my contact lens projecting into my brain? It'll be exciting, super exciting. Antonio Baez, is it spelled no labs? It is spelled Knowlabs. Yes. Alexander Hakim, Senator Bob Menendez worked for Egypt. Apparently, he is being charged as a unregistered foreign agent, and you can't be a foreign agent and be a senator at the same time. He's screwed. Menendez is going to prison, and good for him to go to prison. Okay. Oh, it's 4:30. I gotta get going. There'll be a show tomorrow. I don't know if it'll be daytime or if it'll be a Friday night spectacular, but we'll be doing a show. We'll be doing a show tomorrow. I'll figure out what time as that comes. I will see y'all tomorrow. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out and chit-chatting. Hopefully, if we do a show tomorrow, it'll be after documents have dropped. And Speculation Station, we'll be on the train, baby. We'll be on the train to Moontown. No longer sitting in Speculation Station wondering what's going on. If not, well, we'll continue speculating and hope that Monday will provide a show. Wes Christian's going to be on the PP show Monday afternoon, about the time I would normally do this show. So it'll probably definitely be a nighttime show on Monday just to see, what's happening there. Yeah, cat, dog, anyone gonna add anything? No? Cool. All right, we're awesome. All right, catch you guys later and see you tomorrow. Ready? Oh, wait, I'm gonna do this one. Shwink. Ursa Verde.